for your
Yeah.
thoughts.
So now that's a huge problem too, because if you look at so a lot of people will go look at the performances. So if you go to a leaderboard, you can say, "Oh, well, this is the best model. It says so. I read it. I read it in a paper that ChatGPT passed the New York bar exam, so it has to be a good model. I mean, I saw it. It's written there in that paper, so it can be a lawyer because it passed the bar exam with some excellent grades." So then you think, well, then I don't have to think anymore. All I have to do is implement it in my legal department, and here we go. But then if you open the New York Times and you go back and you look for some history of what happened, you will see that there's a lawyer who believed that. And he asked a question to ChatGPT before going to court. And ChatGPT hallucinated. It invented, I don't know how many legal cases. The guy printed it out. He went to court, and the judge says, "Well, that's fine. You know what? I'm suing you because nothing of what you said exists. You're just inventing stuff. You're a very bad lawyer. I'm going to take you to court. I'm going to sue you. You're going to be disbarred." So what am I saying here? I'm going back to critical thinking, right? So remember in the first part of this conversation, I said, that's right. I see a LinkedIn using LLM passing an exam means something about the exam itself than about the capacity to do the job. So I couldn't say that in better words. I mean, this LinkedIn user is fine. It doesn't say anything about the capacity to do the job. Now, where does that leave us? That means that all these benchmarks we're looking at are not going to help us at all. We need, there's another one too from Ronald. He says, "A fool with a tool is still a fool." That's great. Remember that I said you have to have a level of knowledge before using it, because we're all a fool in some area. I'm a fool in many areas. If you take me out of AI, I'm a fool in half of most of everything that exists. So I'm a fool in many areas, but I won't go and use an AI to do something I don't know about. So a fool with a tool is still a fool is a good rule. That means that you have to start at a certain level of manual knowledge, something you know about. You have a degree or something, and then you can analyze and you can make the best of that tool. So now, going back to this model choice, we can't trust the leaderboards. We also know that a fool with a tool is still a fool, because that means we have to know something about the topic or the domain before we go there. And then we saw that passing an exam, another LinkedIn user says passing an exam doesn't say anything about your capacity to do the job. So now what I suggest is to build a data set. Okay, what you need to do is to build a data set, because a fool with a data set is not a fool anymore. Because now if you have a data set and you know what you expect and you're not telling the system what you expect, then you can go and you can test the systems. Like in chapter 15, I wrote a big benchmark where I asked the system about 100 and more than 100 tasks to do. And I was watching the answers. Some answers are insane, some are good. So what you need to do is build a data set. And from that data set, then you can test the models. Now that seems easy, but it isn't, because how are you going to build that data set? Okay, because you have to be an expert. So it might cost a lot of money to and time to build that data set. But unfortunately, you're going to have to do something like that. You need a data set, even if it's a data set on a piece of paper, and you just type prompts into ChatGPT or Gemini or Bing. You need a data set, and then you need to compare. You need to compare one answer to another until you find something that's satisfactory. Now, some people use metrics. They're going to say, wow, I built a data set with 1,000 things and I got 1,000 good answers. Well, it's still not enough. Now that you're going to have to introduce some of your users, you're going to need other people to test it with you, because you're going to find that the way you ask questions is not the way someone else is going to ask questions. So now you're beginning to enter the world of real life integration